Hey friends, welcome to the Plaid X2 channel. My name is John, and on this channel we talk all things physical media, movies, music, and books. So if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and subscribe down below for more of that kind of content. Well friends, this is a brand new series I'm going to start on this channel called First Take or Remake. Now, in this series what we're going to do is we're going to discuss the first film that came out, the original, and then a remake that was made, or potentially remakes that were done of this film. We're going to kind of compare these films, and then I'll tell you where it is that I land on which one I would personally recommend, or which one I would want to keep in my collection if I could only have one. Now in the future, I'm not going to do this one by myself. I have some friends who I've already spoken to do some of these films with me. I'm actually looking forward to those conversations more than just me yammering on by myself. But anyway friends, this is the first one in this series, and the film we're going to talk about is All Quiet on the Western Front. Well, actually it'll be films we're going to talk about. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to this, sharing with you my thoughts on these two films, comparing them. Please let me know in the comments below if you've seen these films, what you thought of them, and how you would compare them, and maybe which one that you would recommend, the first take or the remake. So here we go. So the films we're talking about are All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, the films we're looking at are the original from 1930, and then the most recent release of the film in 2022. Now, I have both of the physical releases I want to show you. I did watch these the other day. I watched them back to back, so I can have it fresh on my mind as what I saw and how to compare both of them. So the first one I'll show you is the original film, and this is from 1930, All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a digibook release. I believe you can still get this one on Amazon. I think there's used copies that go for actually quite cheap. But this is the Blu-ray DVD combo, and it is a fantastic release of this film. I did find this one, classic Plaid X2, at a library sale for $1. And so we've got the DVD in the front. We have a really, really great booklet, great pictures and some essays, and then we have the Blu-ray. So this is the 1930 version, the original version, All Quiet on the Western Front. And then I have here with me the 2022 remake, All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a beautiful, beautiful release. Again, it is a digibook with the J card on here. This was put out originally, you'll see here, Netflix. Really thankful though that we get a physical release of this one. So here we go. It's the back. And again on the inside, this is the 4K release. So we'd have the 4K disc here. We then have another really outstanding booklet. Great pictures, essays. And then we have the Blu-ray copy at the back. So All Quiet on the Western Front, both editions 1930 and 2022 we have in a digibook release, which are really fantastic. I would highly recommend both in your collection. Now, as for the story of this film, this is a story of a group of young men, some friends, who are recruited, highly recruited. They're encouraged, celebrated. They're getting all riled up to join the war, to fight for Germany in World War I. And so this story is kind of them being sold as a soldier. It's a beautiful thing. It's a glorious thing. You should be proud to do it. And they're encouraged and kind of hyped up to become these soldiers. And these boys, they're very much all about it. And so they go into war, they all sign up and they go into war, and then the film is kind of their journey through the experience of war and the kind of the idea they had of it going into it, what their experience is of it as they go through this thing together as friends, and how they each experience it and handle it differently, and where they end up with their perspectives on war at the end. So we follow them kind of emotionally and mentally, what it does to them throughout the film. And this is very much an anti-war film. Now I do want to be very clear, this is not an anti-soldier film at all, but rather an anti-war film. Instead, it's a very sympathetic look at these soldiers and what they go through. And it wasn't their decision to start these wars. And you have people in higher positions of power who are the ones who are beginning these wars, who are encouraging people to go into these wars, but the people in power are never the ones on the front lines of these wars, but instead you have young men on the front lines of these wars, and it's again a very sympathetic, compassionate look on what they go through mentally, emotionally, and relationally, and all that they experience. So the story is a very overwhelming story. It's a powerful story, emotionally gripping story, and both of these editions of the film do that really, really well. So that's kind of a gist of what the story is. Now, as you're watching these films, there are some immediate differences you'll see. So if you watch the 1930 edition of this film, you'll instantly see that it is in black and white, and you'll also notice it is in English. Now, if you watch the 2022 remake of the film, this is in 4K, and it is in unbelievable, stunning color. Just the images in this are unbelievable, and it is not in English. This film is in German. So the original you'll have in black and white and in English, and the remake you will have in German, but it'll be in stunning color. Now, when it comes to the story, are there differences? Yes, there are differences in the story. A lot of similarities, and I will say, I don't want to ruin significant moments of the story, but I will say this. The moment that's captured here on the 1930 edition of the film, this is very similar in the 2022 version. Both of this particular scene is gut-wrenching, really powerful. They're done almost the same. There are some differences, but this scene in particular, you'll notice in both films, is just really, it's gut-wrenching. It's difficult to watch, and incredibly powerful. So there are some similarities in the two films. There are some noticeable differences. I will say in the 1930 film, when it comes to the dialogue, it is much more blatant anti-war. And there are some additional scenes that you'll have in this film that you don't have in the 2022 edition of the film that, again, are very blatant anti-war dialogue. Now, in the 2022 version of the film, my take on it is while the dialogue isn't as blatant anti-war, what you experience visually, emotionally in this film, especially with it being in 4K and the color and everything, I think it communicates the anti-war message more through your experience of the film, visually, what you're hearing, what you are seeing. And so I think both of the films are very good at conveying this message, but they do it differently. In 1930, it was more of an obvious dialogue. In the 2022, it was more of what you experience visually and with the audio. I will say visually, both films are absolutely stunning. You might think 1930 is going to be really hokey and the special effects, all of that stuff. We don't have what we have today, but you would be completely wrong. The 1930 film, I was stunned with how visually captivating it is, and what they were doing in 1930, it was unbelievable. It was incredible. And I watch a ton of films from the 30s and 40s, the 20s, and I was so surprised at how intense this film was. In fact, I would say when I was watching the 2022 version, I had to go quite a ways into this film before I was thinking that the 30s version was actually more violent and more intense than the 2022 version of the film. So both of these films are gritty and just they're rough and they're difficult to watch. The violence in it, I wouldn't say that one of them is more violent than the other. I would say they're different. In fact, there are some scenes, I would say in the 1930 that might be even maybe a little more graphic than in the 2022 version of the film. But both of them, I would say, would be pretty equally on par with how it conveys the violence. Now, when you're seeing it in black and white and when you're seeing it in 4K color, it is a different experience, but both would be about the same. Both films, I would say, are heartbreaking and do an amazing job of just sharing and just elevating your compassion when it comes to what soldiers go through when they go to war, all that they go through mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and then when they come home, what the experience is like. And so how war is sold by those who have positions of power, and then what the experience of war is for those who actually are on the front lines, and then their experience when they come home. Both films are very heartbreaking, and I walked away from both of them very heavy. It was actually pretty difficult to watch both of these films back to back. You're talking, a lot of hours of war, of heartbreak, of struggle, and so I would say these films they do an outstanding job communicating the message they're looking to communicate and being anti-war films. Visually, they're both stunning. The dialogue is very different in both of them, but powerful in both of them. Honestly, friends, when the purpose of this series is to, at the end, land on a First Take, a remake, and it's really difficult with these two films, I'll be honest with you. Both of them were really, really powerful. Both of them I will definitely keep in my collection. Both I'll revisit, but they're both heavy. It won't be films I go back to all of the time. Both I would highly recommend. The direction, cinematography, acting in both were outstanding. highest regards, highest recommendation on both of them. If you are looking for a film, so I'm going to do this. First Take, a remake. If you enjoy black and white films, I would say go with this one. You're going to get the message of the film in a black and white. If you say, I don't like reading subtitles, I just want it in English, go with the 1930 edition. It's phenomenal. It's powerful. I would highly, highly recommend it. If you're saying, you know what, I don't do as well with black and white films, I love watching color, and I'm a 4K collector, then this would be what you want to go with. Again, it'll be subtitled, but I would say the mix of the dialogue and watching it, you're not missing a whole lot by reading down below. On the second watch, you'll probably enjoy it, see more. But I will say I didn't feel like while watching this that I was missing a lot by reading the dialogue. I thought they did a really great job in the pacing of what you're seeing and what you're reading. So friends, First Take, a remake on this one is really difficult. I know I set myself up to give a call here. I lean black and white, I lean older films, so I am going to lean with that one. And again, it is more explicit with the dialogue of the anti-war message. So you know what, I'm probably going to lean there. But friends, it is the slightest leaning possible. So both of these films are amazing, outstanding. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen them, which one you would recommend. And if you haven't seen one of them, I would highly recommend you see the other. If you haven't seen either of them, I recommend picking up both of them. They're both incredible, highly recommend. So friends, this is episode 1 of First Take, or Remake. Let me know what you think of this series. We've got more coming, and I'll do some of these with friends, so you don't just have to listen to me, in my opinion. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Really do appreciate you taking the time to check out this video. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next time.